This conference will now be recorded.
Let's discuss the agenda for today. Good morning, everyone. See, actually, the main agenda for today is like a CloudHub deployment demonstration exactly. But before doing that, there is another concept called externalization of properties that should be discussed, and then only we can go for CloudHub deployment. Okay. Now, what does this externalization of property means exactly? This is one of the best practices followed by the industry exactly, and it is very important. Obviously, this has to be followed, and in any organization, this particular strategy will be followed. Okay, for that reason, what is this and how to do that and all we'll discuss now exactly before proceeding with CloudHub deployment. Okay, fine. Externalization of properties. What happens is normally what happens to whenever we what did we do exactly whenever we wanted to deploy on hybrid or runtime manager, we just exported a jar file actually. For example, like our project name is hello world, hello -world jar, exported from Anypoint Studio, right? Okay, then immediately what happened exactly, you have taken that jar file, and then for on-premise, what did you do? You just copied and pasted in the apps folder. If it is for hybrid model, you went inside the runtime manager and then you selected the jar file there, and then you have filled some details and then deployed it basically. These are the two ways which you followed for on-premise and hybrid model. But normally what happens is, as I already told, there will be almost 6 environments in the real time. What are those exactly? Dev, SIT, UAT, pre-prod, prod, DR. See, for example, this is hello world application. We don't had any connections like any third-party connectors like Salesforce or database or anything exactly. Okay, for that reason there is no problem. But what happens is, generally any Mulesoft application will be having an integration with a database or Salesforce or SAP connector or third-party web services. Okay, anything. Obviously, now what happens is exactly, for example, like think that we have our application has DB and Salesforce SFDC connectors. Now what happens is, whenever you have DB means database, okay, SFDC means Salesforce system exactly. Now DB will have, how to connect that? Host, port, username and password. Okay, the same way even SFDC also has some configurations to be done. Okay, what happens is, for each and every environment, for example for dev, these details will be different. For SIT, these details will be different. For UAT, these details will be different. For pre-prod, different. Prod, different. DR, different. Sometimes what happens is, they may use these these details same for SIT and UAT. For pre-prod, prod and DR, it differs exactly. Okay, it depends on the organization, but I'm taking an ideal case. Actually, they have 6 environments, and for 6 environments, this DB details is different. This SFDC details are different basically. If you check out this hello world jar, whatever we have done exactly, now what happens? We are just opening that particular connector and we are just hard coding the values exactly. Okay, hard coding the values means, we are for example, like we are developing in the dev environment. What are we doing? We are giving the details of dev DB, like host port, username and password. But if you deploy the same application in this environment, what happens? Deployment will fail basically, or it will be successful. What happens? But the database of dev environment will be utilized. The SFDC details of dev environment will be used, and all the operations will be happening on the dev environment, but not the SIT environment. Is that correct? No, obviously it's a wrong strategy. Now what happens? Whenever you're deploying on dev, it has to take these details. Whenever you're deploying on SIT, you have to take SIT details. Okay. Whenever you are deploying on UAT, it should take UAT1. And same for this. Okay. Now, how this will happen exactly? Okay. This is there is a concept called property file basically. Okay. Concept called property file. Okay. Where we will create this? We'll create this under SRC main resources. How to create that? I'll show you in the practical in some time. Okay. We'll create that property file in SRC main resources. This, what is the type of file Mule4 accepts exactly? It will accept .aml or .properties file. Okay. And what this property file consists of? This property file will consist of all the configuration details. All the configuration details to be externalized basically. Okay. Got it, right? See, we will create a property file under SRC main resource. When I explained the structure of the project, I told you like why SRC main resources will be utilized. All the resources which are required for the execution of the main project, exactly, all the resources will be placed under SRC main resources under that folder. Under that folder, we are creating a file. Maybe it can be in the format of .aml or in the format of .properties. Any of the things work, but for now we'll create .aml file. Okay, that .aml file or .properties file, what happens? Will provide the host, username, password, port, all these details. For example, like for 1 second. For example, like we will create one dev property file. Dev property file will consist of exactly, think of DB, okay, host. For example, like 10.1.1.1 port, some 1523. Okay, user, root, password, root. For example, we are considering DB for this example. Now I went to SIT property file. For that, the DB details are 10.2.2.2.2, for example, host IP address of the IP address of that particular database. See, port is same only. For example, 1523 only we are using. Okay, username maybe admin and password admin. See here, the details for dev environment DB is different, for SIT dev environment is different. That is the reason we are creating separate property files for each and every environment. Now, how many property files will come? For this scenario, 6 property files will come. Just give me a moment. For this example, 6 property files will come. Why? We have 6 environments. For example, now in real time, they are having only 3 environments. Okay, or 4 environments. Okay, how many property files will come? For example, like they have only dev, UAT, and prod. Three environments. How many property files will come? 3 environments. 3 property files only. See, ideally, I told you there will be 6 environments. Sometimes, right, what organizations will do, they can't maintain those many number of environments exactly. Whatever they wanted to do in dev environment, they will do in dev only. For SIT, UAT, pre-prod and all, they use only UAT one, and for production they use a separate one for sure. Exactly. Okay, that way it depends on the organization. How many environments you have, those many number of property files have to be created. Okay, now the respective database details or Salesforce connected details or the other system what to say, like connected details, all will be provided, whatever you wanted to create. Exactly. Just give me a minute. Pen is not working. Okay, yeah, fine. Now, got the clarity here, right? Now assume we have 3 environments. Actually, we have 3 environments: dev, UAT, production. Exactly. Now what happens exactly? We have to create 3 property files. How to create that 3 property files? I'll show you. And then how to externalize those properties and then call those properties inside the connectors. Exactly. Okay. Now, how to do that? I told you just now. We'll create the property files under SRC main resources. We'll create YAML files with different environments. 3 property files will be creating, and immediately how to call those exactly properties with the help of this is the syntax. No need to get confused. Dollar and the property name. Where will you write this exactly? In the connector configurations. Now property file you have mentioned, for example, I'll take you dev.yaml file. Now you wanted to connect it to dev environment basically, and you have done the connector configuration with the help of this. Whether there is any connection between these two? No, we don't have any connection. How to choose that exactly? In global elements, we will be creating one property called configuration properties. Okay, what is that configuration properties exactly? This will link which one? This connector configuration, this values will be fetched from, it will tell fetch from this particular property file. For example, if you went to UAT environment, what it will do? This particular configuration properties global element will tell pick it from UAT file. And when it comes to production, it will tell go and pick it from production file. Okay, that dev, UAT or production, who will specify? While you are deploying the application in the runtime, you will be supplying that particular variable. Runtime means whenever you are deploying the application, at that point of time, you will be supplying that particular runtime variable. If you tell that this is dev environment, you will give dev SIT or UAT. For example, like UAT you will give prod PROD. Then immediately, if you specify UAT, automatically it will go to UAT property file and it will pick all the values of that particular property file and then fill the connector configurations with that UAT property files, whatever details are there, and then the project get executed exactly. Okay, respective environment will be picked. Now these are the 3 steps basically. What are the 3 steps? First, configure the property files, create the property files in SRC main resources for the 3 environments, and then configure the attributes of connectors with placeholder, this property name, and then immediately create configuration properties with property file path under global elements. Just now I told you we will create a configuration properties global element. These are the 3 steps to be carried out exactly. Okay, now I'll go to Anypoint Studio. I'll create a new project, file, new project. I'll create demo project. It will take few seconds to create the project structure. Just wait for some time. Okay, see here. Now demo project is created. I just wanted to close all the unrelated projects to this basically. What? Right click on the project on which you wanted to work and close unrelated projects. Close unrelated projects means the projects which are not related to this particular demo project, all projects will be closed. See here, everything got closed. Okay, only demo project is, because I just want to take out the confusion. Okay, that's the reason I right clicked on that particular project and close unrelated projects. And immediately if you see in the canvas area also, if there are any files opened related to these projects, all those files also got closed. Okay, observe that. Okay, these are all the small tips and techniques while working in real time basically. Now see here, in demo project a configuration file is generated, and that configuration file doesn't have any flows right now basically. Okay, now what is the first step? Obviously we'll be taking listener, and then again say I am writing the same only, hello world only basically. Okay, but I'm just creating another one. You should be careful enough to drop that particular component inside the flow basically, otherwise a new flow will be created. And I just wanted to change the name as hello world flow. See, for naming the convention, naming conventions and all, if you see, I'm giving all small letters, and each and every new word is differentiated by a hyphen symbol here. If you see that, this is known as all small letters, and new actually the words actually are separated by hyphens, right? This is known as kebab case. What is that? Kebab case. Okay, and sometimes we'll be using camel case. Whenever that comes, I will explain you. Kebab case means all will be small letters. Words are separated by hyphen symbol. Okay, that's what I am doing now exactly. If you observe, hello world flow. See, hello world flow. Hello is a word, world is a separate word, flow is a separate word. I separated by all are in small letters, and I'm using a hyphen to separate the words basically. Now what happens? This is known as kebab case. Okay, fine. Generally to name the configuration files actually, or XML files, you use this kebab case. Okay, remember that exactly. Now I have to configure this listener, right? I'm just going inside the listener, and then we don't have this, as this is a new project, we don't have any global elements. If you observe why I'm redoing it, I'm not using the exist one, just to recap exactly. Okay, now click on this plus symbol to create the new listener. Here is the thing I told you just now. There are 3 steps exactly. What are the 3 steps? We'll create the file under src main resources and configure the attributes. Attributes means all these are known as attributes basically. Okay, configuration properties or configuration attributes, whatever we can call, okay, not an issue. We have to fill all these details exactly. Okay, now see here, instead of 8081, this is called as hard coding. I don't want to make hard coding. I want to call all these values from property files. What is the procedure exactly? Dollar, flower braces, and the property name basically, http dot port. Instead of 8081, I'm not calling it directly here itself. I'm calling that value from property file. That's what I'm doing it here. Okay, don't worry. Now path. Even path also I want to do the same way basically. This way we will do it for all SFDC connector, database connector. This way we will take the property values or the connector values from the property files. But for now we didn't discuss that database connector or SFDC connector or anything. That's the reason what we are doing currently. We are taking how to externalize the properties for listener itself. We are seeing exactly. Now how many values I have externalized? 2 values. One is port, one is path exactly. Can we externalize other values also? Yes, actually we'll do that. See here, listener configuration is created in the global element. Now I just wanted to again go inside that listener. This edit button has to be clicked because already a listener connector, connector is already available. Configuration is already available. To edit those details exactly, we have to click on that edit button. Now if you see, okay, HTTP or HTTP, we have selected HTTP only, and local host, or this is already selected. Even this value also can be externalized. For now as it is, I am keeping as it is exactly, like, okay. But how to externalize anything? See here, this is the placeholder we have to use. Now I'm clicking on OK and coming to src main resources. Where is it? Under demo project, src main mule, src main java. Immediately we have src main resources. Now what happens is, generally we'll create a separate folder for configuration properties. How to create a separate folder under this particular src main resources? Just right click, okay, go to new folder. I'm giving the folder name as configuration. Okay, it depends on the organization or depends on the developer. Whatever name he can give, that's fine basically. Mostly they use config exactly, but I have given the full name of it, configuration. Now under that I want to create the property files. How to create that? Right click, new file. Okay, I already told you YAML file. Okay, dev dot YAML. This dot YAML is nothing but the extension of this particular file type basically. Okay, now click on finish. See, YAML file is generated. Now I told you one more thing also. We have to create 3 files, right, for 3 different environments. If you have 6 environments, we'll be creating 6 files basically. But for now how to configure this particular property file, how to write the property values and all, we'll see now exactly with the help of this YAML file. Now what happens is, I told you I have externalized two property values. What are those two property values? Port is one key which has been externalized. Another one is path exactly. Okay. Now I'm giving the listener configuration. That's why I'll write HTTP for naming properly and give colon, enter, tab or two spaces. 1, 2. Okay. Now port colon. What is the port number we wanted to use? 8081, for example. Okay. Now what is the path we have to do? Enter path colon, think it as /test exactly, and I am saving it. Okay. Now I told you 3 environments, right? How to do that? Click on this file, Control C, Control V. A new file will be created. I'm just copying it and pasting it. Here it will ask for a name. Now I'll write uat.aml. Okay. And again Control V. Another file will be generated. Prod. Okay. Now it is 3 files got generated. Okay. Now see, obviously I told you the values will change, right? Okay. But here for the listener, the values remain the change. But if there is DB, we'll do that also otherwise, actually, like DB colon, enter, tab are two spaces, tab, post, port, username, password. Okay. Think as .10.1.1.1, for example. Port as 1523. Username as root. Root only, for example. Okay. I'm just copying it. I'm going to UAT, paste it. But for UAT, the values are 2.2.2. Host is 2. Why you use a separate database or separate environment related infrastructure exactly? Obviously, it has to be. Otherwise, if you mix up everything, it is too difficult to manage exactly. That's the reason. Port is same and username and password are different, for example. Now I'm going to production. Okay. For example, take it as 3.3 and here user is the password, username, user is the password. See, I'm giving same. It doesn't mean that it has to be that way. For example, like username @2022. It can be anything basically. Okay, fine. Now what happens is 2 steps are over. We have created under SRC main resources. I have created a folder. Under that folder, I have created a 3 property files. Okay, these 3 property files has been generated and we have filled the values for that particular property file also. And one more thing, what we have done, we have configured the placeholder also for the respective connector. For now, we have taken, we don't have DB connector. We are using only listener. That's the reason we'll be using the listener values. Actually, listener configuration details will be fetched from property files basically. If there is DB connector also in the flow, obviously, for example, like I just show you for demonstration, but database is again a separate module which we will take in separate session. See, for example, like if you see the DB connector, for example, like my system is MySQL connection or Oracle connection, host, port, user, password, database, all these details will be fetched from this property file. Okay, but for now we are just deleting that. Okay, don't get confused or don't get panic. Whenever again database module comes, I'll show this externalization of properties once again exactly. Okay, fine. Now I have to set this hello world, right? But see how to connect these two exactly. I told you we'll go to global elements and we'll create a configuration properties, right? Just go to global elements, create, search for configuration properties. We have to give the path here basically. How to give that path? This way. Select this here. As soon as you click on that three dots, automatically you can see the file. Just now I am giving dev file. Is it correct? Now if I hard code this dev.yaml, always it will take dev.yaml file and it will take the properties of only dev environment basically. For that reason, what I will do, I will again take the values dynamically from here also. I'm creating a property called mule.env. See here, configuration under src main resources configuration slash backslash. I told dollar flower braces mule.env. This mule.env when we will provide in the runtime exactly. I'll show you how to do that in the runtime now. Immediately click on OK, save it, go to the canvas area. Can you do like this? Run project? No, we cannot do this. Why? Because we need some runtime variables have to be passed. If you do like this, what happens? We'll see that also. We can't, it is not asking for any runtime arguments, right? When it is not asking for runtime arguments, how this project will know like the values have to be picked from this or this or this exactly. For that reason, obviously, it would be difficult. Mostly it will be getting failed exactly. We'll see. Whenever there are arguments, how to pass that and how to deploy that project, I'll show you now in just few seconds. See, it got failed. See, if it is getting failed, how to see that exactly? Just check for error from the bottom. I'm going up. Okay, I'm seeing error here. Okay, most probably in this area, your exact error will be available. Okay, now we will see. We'll try to drag and drop to the right side. See, it's telling couldn't find the configuration property value for mule.env. We are not providing this value exactly. Obviously, that is the reason it's getting failed. Without that, it cannot connect which property file to be fetched, right? For that reason, it is getting failed. Now, how to achieve this? How to pass the runtime arguments or runtime variables exactly? There are two ways. One way is right click on this project. Okay, go to, one second. I'll show you this option exactly. Sorry, run as actually. See, right click on the project, run as, and Mule application configure. Normally what we used to do, directly click on Mule application or right click and run it. Exactly. These are the two ways what we were doing. But select the third option, run Mule application configure. This is one way. Exactly. Now here, which project you wanted to deploy? Demo-project. This project is selected here. And how to pass the arguments? Here we go and we click here -d. What is the property name actually? Mule.env. For now, I'm telling to pick it from dev environment, dev. What is the value? This value, dev. Okay, I'm giving equal to dev. If it is prod, what we will do? dmule.env equal to prod, prod. Then what it happens? Property production property file will be picked exactly. Now click on apply, run. You want to stop the running instance and start a new instance. Yes. With the help of configurations, right? How to do that? Right click, go to run as, and go to Mule application configure, and then go to arguments tab. Just go to a new line. Okay, -d, and then do that exactly. Okay, fine. Now it got failed again. We'll see. Okay, it's referring to something else exactly. Okay, configuration. Okay, got it exactly. Okay, I'll show you. Go to global elements, configuration properties. This backslash is not working. We'll see that. Okay, I made it to // save. As the build automatically is there, it should again redeploy it exactly. It's happening. This way we externalize the properties and then deploy the projects exactly. Okay, it's started app, and yeah, fine. Now I'll go to Postman. What is the path given exactly? Test only, right? Localhost 8081 test exactly. Yeah, we received hello world exactly. What is the issue? This backslash exactly under global elements. Here I made it to /. Now it is taking dev environment file. Okay, when if I specify in the runtime as prod, obviously it will pick up prod UAD. Okay, fine. In standalone, how this value will be coming? I already told you wrapper.conf is available, right? From wrapper.conf, if it is production server, they will be already set like wrapper.conf mule.env equal to prod exactly. Automatically, when you deploy the application, automatically that value will be taken from wrapper.conf and it will be accessing the production file basically. Okay, that way for different environments, we need to have different property files. Without having that, it is too difficult. It is not possible to deploy the application in different environments. Now we'll see a CloudHub deployment. Actually, see, now we know like how to configure the property files, and there are 3 steps. Those 3 steps are create property file under SRC main resources. In, for example, like if we have 5 environments, we'll readily make 5 property files with the respective values. And immediately we will fill all the connectors with the placeholders, with the respective placeholder names exactly, and then immediately we will create a configuration property file. And then while running the application, we'll provide the which property file has to be picked. That property value we will be providing while running the application exactly. One more way exactly before proceeding with CloudHub deployment, I just wanted to show one more way to run this project. I'll stop this project. I'll go to console, terminate. Now this project is stopped actually. I'll go to, if you see this, right click and run as. Actually we did this way, Mule application configure. The same way we have run configurations. If you do that, immediately see here, same tab with a different interface has been started. You can pass it here. D Mule ENV already there, and then run. These two ways you can do. Right click here, you can do one, and again go to run configurations, run configurations, and then you can do from there also. There are two options exactly. Okay, fine. Now see, if you remember, we have three deployment strategies. What are those three deployment strategies exactly? We can on-premise, hybrid, and CloudHub. These three already we discussed on-premise and we discussed hybrid, and then we are going to discuss now CloudHub. Okay, what is this CloudHub exactly? If you see, CloudHub is an integration platform, okay, as a service, integration platform as a service. It means that iPaaS, okay, where you can deploy Mule applications in the cloud environment provided by Mulesoft. What is cloud environment basically? On-premise, the server is available on-premise only, server. Okay, in that you installed Mule Runtime. In hybrid, same. On-premise only. But in CloudHub, your infrastructure will be provided by Mulesoft. Server will be on Mulesoft side. They will take care of everything. And in that, what happens is Mule Runtime will be created on a concept called worker. Okay. Is this visible to you? No. Automatically, when you click on that runtime manager and select that CloudHub, okay, this server may be in USA or Australia or Asia or anywhere, where it is managed by Mulesoft exactly. And how do they do this exactly? They take care of the whole environment. They make the ready environment. They provide it, and in the background they use Azure or AWS for server purpose basically. Okay, don't bother about this exactly. What Mulesoft will do, Mulesoft will provide you the infrastructure or the server, okay, whenever you are trying to deploy your applications on CloudHub, and automatically an instance will be created, Mule Runtime instance will be created there, and then your application will be deployed on this particular runtime. Okay, that concept is known as worker basically. Okay, worker will be created with some capacity like some memory, 500 MB memory or something like that, and then automatically there is an option while deploying. We'll have that option. We'll be selecting that, and then obviously your application will be deployed on that particular worker basically. Okay, now see, CloudHub is an integration platform as a service. Means they take Azure environment or the AWS environment, and they required software and hardware installations they do, like for Mule server and all, and then they will give it as iPaaS, integration platform as a service, where we are deploying applications on that particular iPaaS in the cloud environment. Who is providing that? Mulesoft. That is the reason this particular thing is CloudHub is in an iPaaS where you can deploy Mule applications in the cloud environment provided by Mulesoft. That's simple, exactly. If you remember that, that's more than enough. Now, I told you worker. What is worker exactly? Worker is nothing but a dedicated Mule instance or Mule runtime that runs your Mule application. Okay. This is known as worker basically. Now, while selecting that worker, we have to select the memory also. How to select that? I already told you, if the number of applications are getting increased, that vCore size has to be increased. Whenever we are discussing that disadvantages of what to say, having more number of applications, basically API-led architecture. At that point of time, I told one concept called vCore. vCore is nothing but this worker size will be measured in vCores basically. There are different types of vCores like 0.1 vCore, 0.2 vCore, 1 vCore and all. If you are selecting 0.1 vCore, it will be 500 MB. If it is 0.2, 1 GB, 1 vCore, 1.5 GB. Okay, is the capacity. See, just remember, worker sizes will be measured in vCores exactly, and worker is nothing but a dedicated Mule instance that runs your Mule applications. If you remember this is more than enough. There will be questions like what is a worker, what is a vCore. If you remember this, you will be able to answer exactly. And what are the different sizes in vCores available exactly. At least if you remember these three, that's more than enough. There are vCores still some 16 vCores or something like that. Okay, but at least remember these exactly. Now, what is the procedure exactly? Take the jar file, go to Runtime Manager, and then select CloudHub environment. Okay, and then deploy. These are the steps basically. Now, how to again take the jar file? Go to your Anypoint Studio, and then right click, export. Under Mule, select this option. Next, I want all these exactly same. Keep the configurations as it is. Finish. Okay, demo project exported successfully. Now I'll go to Anypoint platform. Logging into that Anypoint platform account. Okay, and I'll go to Runtime Manager. You can go here or go here. Go to menu button, Runtime Manager. Okay, I just wanted to, I told you like 6 environments will be there, all will be there, but for as we are in the free edition, obviously will not have so many environments. If you pay Mulesoft and take the environments, automatically you can configure different kind of environments over here basically. Okay, and you can see dev, SID, UAT, prod, pre-prod, DR, all these environments over here basically. Okay, now under applications, go to deploy application. Okay, see here I'm giving the name first basically. Demo project is not available with the name actually on a CloudHub basically, and give some unique name. It's not also available. Okay, 10. Yeah, it's available. Okay, I've given some unique name, and then deployment target. While doing, if you remember, while doing Hybrid, we used to select the server which we have registered, but here by default we have CloudHub exactly. Okay, click on this CloudHub. Okay, and we can select the runtime version. Just now we are using 4.4 only, right? We have 4.3 also. Okay, and for some old patch release also available, but I just wanted to select the 4.4, which is the latest one. And here I told you like worker size, right? See here, 0.1 vCore, 2 vCores, 3 vCores. But I'm see, because my application is very small application, that's why I'm keeping it as 0. It depends on the application's what to say, the number of requests coming for that particular application, or what is the payload size of that particular application is receiving. All those factors will decide this particular vCore size exactly. I'm keeping the default, and if you see the workers also here, it is by default 1 only, because we are in the free edition. We will not be able to select this exactly. Okay, what happens, I just wanted to explain this particular concept also. If I select 3 here, what happens exactly? Now, if I select 1 worker, what is the difference? If I select 3 workers, okay, it means like if it is 1 worker, we are deploying application on 1 server only. If it is 3 workers, on 3 servers. What is the purpose of this exactly? Why we are doing? If the application is available on only 1 server, it is more than enough, right? There is a problem with 1 only basically. For example, this particular server or worker, okay, got corrupted. What happens? Your application will stop running and your consumers of that particular application will get problem, right? They will not be able to access. Yes, right? For example, there are three workers basically. Now what happens? 3 workers, 1 got corrupted. What about other 2? Already running. There is no downtime. App will be running only, and these 2 will process the request. Okay. Now what happens is exactly, it means like in real time, right? Obviously, if you see, if you remember, whenever they release like ZME phones or MI phones, sometimes Flipkart server has crashed and all exactly. Okay. Behind the screen, they will be deploying in different servers also to keep the availability basically. Okay, high availability. And see, obviously there is already always a possibility of getting corrupted or something happens to that particular application or the particular worker. Obviously, it would be difficult for you to again start another deploy another application. In at that point of time, it will take some time basically. If you are already deploying it on 3 workers or 2 workers, if 1 gets corrupted also, the other is already available. And you told 3 workers, how my request will go to which worker? This is worker 1, worker 2, worker 3. Okay. For example, like postman is your consumer, for example, right now. Okay, postman is sending the request. Okay. Now this request will come to one of the workers and then receive the response basically. What happens is, by default, there will be a load balancer in between. Load balancer. This load balancer will receive the request. Okay. And in round robin basis means this is actually a theoretical concept only. Actually, if you know this is advantage. If you don't understand, once again go through the video and ask me the doubts exactly. Round robin basis. First request 1. will send to worker 1. Second request immediately to the third request. Okay, first request will be sent to the response. Second request, it will come here. Third. Again, round robin. After completing the 3 workers, next fourth request, it will come to W1. First one, worker 1, 2. This is request basically. W2, 3, W3. Fourth, W1. Fifth, W2. Sixth, W3. Seventh, W1. This is known as round robin basis basically. Okay, what this load balancer is receiving the request on behalf of these workers and it is distributing to these workers basically. You got it? Now this got corrupted. This load balancer will sense it automatically, and what it will do, it will balance the load between these 2 applications, these 2 workers only. For example, this also got corrupted. At least you have 1, but in this case you have only 1, and obviously it get corrected, there is no other option. But here you already have 3 workers, and automatically it will distribute the load between these 3 workers basically. Okay, you got the point? This is what I just wanted to show you. Yeah, here. But as our subscription is free subscription, they by default they give only 1. If it is in real time, you can select this exactly. You can select 2, 3. But how many is the maximum exactly? 8 workers you can select. It is the maximum. You can select max of 8 workers. More than 8, obviously they'll ask you to go for standalone. Standalone means on-premise server. Okay, that is possible with the help of CloudHub environment basically. Now I have selected the runtime version, the worker size, and the number of workers also, and I have to select what file, right? Upload file. Where is it? Under C, users, Mahesh, demo project. Is that enough? No, I should pass the runtime variable also, right? Go to properties, runtime, again this properties, mule.env. What is the property name? Mule.env. Value, I'm telling now dev. See, in Anypoint Studio, you passed under configuration exactly. In CloudHub deployment, where you have to pass under properties. Deploy application. See, was uploaded successfully and is deploying. Now you can see the logs here. See, first step is application queue to be deployed, and then deploying application to 1 worker in US East 2 region. The server which is provided for us now is in US East region basically. Okay, and it is provisioning worker. It is creating worker. Worker is nothing but a virtual machine basically. Already a big servers will be available. In that server exactly they will create some a virtual machine that's known as CloudHub worker basically, and they are starting that particular CloudHub worker, and IP is given to that basically. See, this is IP. In the background, Mulesoft is doing entirely this for you basically. Earlier, while doing that standalone runtime, what did you do? You only created the Mule runtime instance, okay, and you only set up that property file and all exactly. You have done you only have done the entire procedure. But here, everything is provided by Mulesoft. It means that you no need to maintain that particular server. You no need to maintain the software patches. You no need to maintain the hardware related things. Everything will be taken care by Mulesoft. That's what cloud is. Cloud is very, very comfortable. And I already told you, CloudHub is one of the mostly used Among the three deployment strategies, actually on-premise, hybrid, and CloudHub widely used actually. Because see what happens is no infra is maintained by you, means no server is maintained by you. Mulesoft does it for us. Software patches, okay, OS patches, everything will be taken care by Mulesoft. Exactly, there is no problem. You just have to log into any point platform and then just run your applications, manage your applications. If you see here, now I can see the log. It is telling your application is started. Okay, your application has started successfully. How to go back? Click on applications. Can you see? Demo project is running. Demo project 10. Where is server on CloudHub? Okay, I have deployed another application called Hello World 12 on CloudHub. That's why it's showing started basically. Now, if I click on this, I already told you how to form the URL. See, domain name. Control C. I go to Postman. Duplicate tab, right click, and I will take out 8081 to localhost. Okay, Control V. See how they gave this URL domain name basically. In US, that server actually the domain name us-e2.cloudhub.io, that is the server IP or domain name basically, and they have tagged your project name before that. Okay, this is forming your domain name. I'm just taking http:// domain name. Domain name is the combination of what? Host and port basically. Okay, already host and port are available, and the path basically. Okay, now if I click on this, as it is already running, I should get the response. Can you see the response here? See, but earlier, because why we are using localhost, we are deploying all our applications on our localhost, means our laptop basically. Now you have deployed your project where basically on the cloud server given by Mulesoft, which is located in USA. They told very clearly USA E2 basically. Okay, now if I want to see the logs for this particular application, I'll just go to the, as soon as you come inside, you'll select the respective environment and then come inside that particular environment. As soon as you come, you can see the application. I want to check the logs for this particular demo project, and you go inside and you can check by clicking on logs exactly. Is that clear? How to check the logs here? You can check the logs here. In standalone, you go to bin and check the logs. In hybrid, again you can check it in the runtime manager itself, basically similar to CloudHub only basically. Okay, this is the CloudHub deployment, and it is widely used right now. One more thing I just wanted to tell you, one more important thing already which we have done, but I just wanted to tell you that whenever you are trying to deploy the application to CloudHub, exactly, if you directly keep this port number, if you hard code this port number without providing that maybe 8081 or 8082, directly hard code this, that particular application will get deployed to CloudHub, but you will not be receiving the response. What is the reason exactly? Because you never know on a server which port is available. If you externalize that particular port, this one. Okay, if you externalize this property, CloudHub will automatically allocate some port for that, and then it will give the domain name for you. This HTTP port is mandatory. Without that, it will be not possible. You have to externalize this particular port property whenever you wanted to deploy it to the CloudHub environment. Keep that in mind. Basically, externalize the property means again creating a property file and then calling that value from this particular property file. It is 8081 in the application, but in the background in the CloudHub, if you see the Postman URL, have I provided any port number here? No. Automatically, this URL has taken care of that exactly. If you go to Google also, for example, like can you see any port number here? You can see the domain name. Domain name will have back in the backend exactly. It has a combination of the server IP host and the port basically. Okay, no company will be trying to expose their host and port, and they will link that to a domain name, and then they will expose that domain name to the external world basically. The same way we got this domain name from the Anypoint platform runtime manager basically. See here, applications. Now, how to stop, how to start, I already told you, right? The same way last time when we did it for same manage application or started, stop it, restart it. Whenever you feel like there is some issue, you can restart the application, and whenever you want to delete, you can use this exactly. Okay, these are the options. Got it? Fine, right? Yeah, I'm done for today.